in the heat of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like that you highlighted what the president was saying. So moving forward, when you bring that conversation closer home, everyone who is listening in is probably thinking about participation, the venue, the date, and all that. We're going to get into that shortly. But before we do that, when we talk about food and the climate problem, there's a lot of images that we've been seeing in the press, and also it's difficult to kind of talk about these things, with, and be very candid and honest about what's truly happening. What direction does this conversation seek to take to address these issues? Because it's one thing, and I like that you're bringing it closer home, to watch and listen. You're not an advocate for it. You're listening and watching it from home. What can be done, and what do you seek to take away from this as you convene to have these conversations?
Yeah, I think first is to say, the platform is not, we don't really look at it as a Nation Media Group platform. We look at it as a platform that Nation has just championed, and it's for everyone. What we look at is to be able to come up with practical, implementable solutions that we ourselves can be able to customize for Africa. And the reason for that is, sometimes you listen to climate change conversations and they're very technical in nature.
Right.
But, you come back home here, it's as simple as being able to champion, for example, 5 billion trees in 5 years and say, is it possible that every family can plant 100 trees and nurture them and grow them, and that will be able to catalyze some change in whatever areas that we're doing. So I think he's also looking at very practical solutions that can be owned by the community and then can be implemented at the local level. One of the things that we're doing is also to ensure that the counties are involved in this conversation, because we know climate change is now a devolved function in Kenya, and therefore it's easy to talk about it at the national level, but the people who are going to implement it are the counties. So we're hoping that, number one, you can create that urgency, that awareness, that consciousness on climate change. And secondly, we can be able to share ideas, because Kusi Ideas Festival is about ideas, sharing ideas that, from one private sector to the other, from one county to the other, from one country to the other, and take these ideas and take them home, and we start seeing change and catalyzing change in whatever we do. Because if you look at it, in terms of the thematic areas, the various thematic areas that Kusi seeks to advance. Climate change adaptation, we're looking at climate financing, we're looking at climate and agriculture, we're looking at climate and water resources, we're looking at the voices of hope. The young people are telling us that you people are the problem. You are the problem. You've put us in this situation for such a long time. So what we're also looking at is how Kusi can have the voices of hope and the voices of young people at the forefront of what they're doing. And we're also looking at, and one of the things that we're doing is we've invited, more than 10 heads of state. We're looking at having around maybe 3 to 4 heads of state, so that while you're having these conversations, you're not having these conversations only as private sector innovators, entrepreneurs, but you're also having these conversations with the policymakers.
Wonderful. I like that this is coming at a time when everyone is looking at Egypt and, of